So for Christmas holiday season, I allowed myself one treat per day. And one of my treats today was one of these. And so I was keeping track in the food journal what all the calories were and everything. And that was very hard to figure out. I had to do some serious math on that one. It works out that one of these treats is 36.35 calories. It's just ridiculous the way they have this set up. Anyway, that's that. So I wanted to mention that. Now, this is my grocery purchases of yesterday. I went to 15% off Tuesday, which is awesome. And I noticed on here that they have misspelt bouillon. Now, I'll often call it bouillon because this is what English-speaking people call it. And so that's how it's spelled here, but that is not how it's actually spelled. It is spelled Bouillon. And so I phoned my grandma, and she was quite stressed out because I had already phoned her in the day. And so she hadn't expected a call from me. And here I'm getting water on my camera. I hope it's going to be okay. It's melting today. So I tried to shovel off the deck as well as I could. And then, yeah. So this is my favorite doll hair. Anyway, so I had already phoned my grandma. And she was stressed out. Her TV wasn't working, and so I phoned my mom to phone somebody because I don't know who all is in the area, and I don't know how to get a hold of them. But the elderly, they need their TVs, because if they don't have it, then they're going to stress out, right? So she needed her TV. So she was stressed out. Now, she was stressed out about some other things, but I think it all hinged on the TV. At least that's what I'm going with. So, anyway. Second time I phoned her in the day. She's quite stressed out by that point. And she didn't want to talk to me, really, I could tell. And it's a little much to call somebody twice in the day. Anyway, so I asked her, I said, how do you say bouillon? Or bouillon, right? The soup, for making soup. And what I should have asked was, how do you pronounce bouillon, the stuff for making soup? Or anyway, I did not say that. I said, how do you say it? Right? And so she said, what did she say? De brat. She said de brat. So I was like, what? I said to her, what does that even translate to? And which I realize now that I probably should have said that differently. Anyway, I was not meaning to be offensive. And so she goes into like how she's talking quickly, and she's talking about, I catch a few words in there, and one of them's chicken, and she's describing how to make broth, right? And then she says, I do catch bouillon in there a couple times. And I say, so you do say bouillon? And she says, no, de brat. And I'm like, what? Oh my gosh. Anyway, what she was saying was the broth. And I was not hearing it right. And I was making her more stressed out when I was actually trying to not make her stressed out. And I'm feeling really bad about that. But I don't want to call her today because I'm thinking she might still be stressed out. Anyway, because I realized later she was saying the broth, and I was not hearing that. But how they say it is bouillon. It is a French word. That is how it is said. So, anyway, so that's that. Now, I wanted to talk about these books because I will have to return a few of them today. Oh, I also wanted to talk about this. Now, I don't know if you can see the cover art on there, but, oh, they're pretty crazy now. They see me. But the dragon's done well, and the unicorn looks great, and I genuinely enjoyed this because I've never heard a unicorn with a thick Scottish accent before. Anyway, and I have an appreciation for illustrated cover art. I love the campiness. Now, when you're drawing people's faces, portraiture really takes some practice. And those ears are much smaller than James's ears. And James has very tiny ears for a human adult. And that nose, very small. Now, sometimes it's hard, you're shy, and it's hard to look at people to know how they're supposed to look. So just use photographs and practice, and then you won't draw people that look strange. Well, eventually. They're going to look strange for a while. So, anyway, I don't know which ones of these I've talked about before. I've read a bunch of mushroom books, and now one of them is, like, these two are quite a bit older. This one's Foyle's Handbook, A.J. Simmons, Mushroom Growing, and this other one is Modern Mushroom Cultivation by Richards. I don't know. I'll write it down. And one of these, they talk about mushroom cultivation as being really recent, like within the last couple hundred years or something, and I kind of made me think, that doesn't seem right. European. The Asians have been doing it for a long time. Anyway, and it talked about it in another book, how they've been doing it a long time. So, now, I am going to say this book is Psilocybin Mushroom Handbook by L.J. Nicholas and Carrie Ogami. Now, I was thrilled to put this on hold, not because I ever want to grow psilocybin mushrooms. I don't. And I don't recommend anyone does, unless, I don't know, is it legal? I have no idea. But even if it is, do you really want to? It's nice to be fully aware of your surroundings, and what a trip that is. Anyway, but I read this and I really appreciated this book. There's a lot of pictures in it, which a lot of the skills are transferable. So if you read some of these other ones and you want to grow, say, oyster mushrooms, which I do, then you could probably use a lot of these pictures to help you along. And another reason why I was thrilled to get this was it's from GPRC, Fairview campus, which I don't know, kind of reminded me of home. And so anyway, the next one up is The Mushroom Cultivator, A Practical Guide to Growing Mushrooms at Home by Paul Stamets and J.S. Chilton. Now, this one, I was the textbook for the course that I took at Olds College, like a long time ago, 25 years ago. Anyway, when I was just a pup, and it's a great book, very good. So there's all sorts of examples of different mediums you can grow your mushrooms on and whatever. So if you happen to be in a place where they're wasting coffee husks or something, you can probably find how to use that in here. So that's very handy. This book is great. I'm glad that I was able to borrow it again and make some notes and all that. Okay. This one's Manual on Mushroom Cultivation from Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations from Rome. This was probably the one where they talked about it only being 200 years. I'm not sure. One of these, I'd have it in my notes somewhere. I'm not sure which one offhand. Anyway, I enjoyed it. They talk about truffles in here, which I don't know if anybody really talks about them, so that's interesting. And this one is Organic Mushroom Farming and Micromediation by Trad Cotter. Simple to advanced and experimental techniques for indoor and outdoor cultivation. This was awesome. This book, like, I expected the one that I'd used as a textbook to be the best one. No, this one was the best one. This one, I don't know if you can see. Well, I'll just find a picture of. There's some. See? Lovely. All those different colors of oyster mushroom. Who knew? I didn't know. Boy, I'm really upsetting the kids when I go to the window. And he talks about how to grow your own morels, like plant them in the yard, in a plot, and you have morels in an outdoor growing. Wonderful. So he talks about all sorts of things. They're in here. It's very useful. Like different things, like you can use sawdust in your drill holes if you're doing hardwood cultivation. And he talks about planting, like I said, growing things outdoors, right? So that's really cool. If you happen to have a farm and you want to make a nice walking path through woods or whatever and get some mushrooms, wonderful. Now, let's see if I can find a picture of this. He used all sorts of old things, cardboard, old jeans to grow mushrooms. I mean, there's a lot of research that has been done on how to basically feed garbage to livestock, when that's not very nice, for one thing. When I say garbage, I say agriculture waste. And in some cases, it's worse than garbage. Something to research if you're interested in it. I am very much. So this is one of the things that I like to research. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, rather than feeding garbage to species, which we treat really poorly, why not use that agriculture waste to grow mushrooms, which they're very high, like a lot of them have medicinal value. They're high in protein. They'll absorb vitamin D if you stick them in the sun. So they're a great source of vitamin D, which we need a lot of, and we're not getting very much of here in Canada because it's cold. How often do you get out in the sun, especially in the winter? So anyway, there's that. Learn how to grow some mushrooms. There was something else I was going to talk about this book, because this book is just so fantastic. Oh, he talks about, now I don't know how I feel about this, but he talks about using, I'll have to just write about it in the thing, in the blog. He talks about using kitty litter, like, I don't know what he said it was made out of. There's some paper-based products and corn husk products or something that, I don't know. I don't keep cats. I don't know anything about cats, so I don't know what this kitty litter's made out of. But you probably know, if you keep cats, you probably know what he's talking about here. So if you have kitty litter like crazy, and you know where he's going with this, it works. Apparently it works for growing mushrooms. So you might want to, if you have kitty litter, rather than filling landfill repeatedly, wouldn't that be great, to do in your backyard or whatever with your, so there you go. Put this on a towel hold like I did, and you can learn how to do it just like that. Wonderful.